Since episode 3, I've gone around to a couple of other camps and have rescued more thralls, including a couple of bartenders, so you'll see them there. Now, they are going to be useless because I'm not able to build a bar or a tavern, so I'm not going to be able to really utilize that system, but it's okay, I'm going to use them as banks, so they're holding on to items for me that I want to keep, but I don't want to encumber myself. Now, this bearer that you see that I'm killing here, I'm going for a chance that they'll drop their backpack. I know sometimes they could drop their backpack and it actually increases inventory. At least that's what I remember. I don't know if that's changed or not. I could actually be completely wrong. That's what I remember. And while I was in the city, I take on a couple more people, level up, and I go and I start to equip Dave the Barbarian because we are planning on a long-term travel to the East Jungles because we are going to be taking on our first dungeon and gathering some of the items required to complete the game. Now, first things first, we train up a little bit because Dave the Barbarian, or John rather, as I decided to take instead of Dave, is still a little bit low level. So we take on the King Turtle, we take on a couple of rhinos, and once John is leveled up, then we start making our way east. We pack up everything we need, I even gather a tent and some extra beds, and we pursue on. I tell John to wake up from his nap because it is time to continue on. So we jump off the cliff and we head on east. Now, it is a very long trip, so I'm not going to show the entire travel, but I will make a couple of pit stops as you'll see coming up soon. The first pit stop is going to be close to where the actual, pit in the summoning place is. It's a small altar that has a couple of followers of Mitra. Now, normally when you find areas that have Mitra followers, they're not aggressive and they'll talk to you, but there are a couple of areas that do have aggressive enemies. This is one of them. Now, they don't really have anything that I need or want. However, one of them, mainly the main follower of the Mitra that you see there, does drop his pants, which are not that great, but they're better than what John is wearing at the moment, so I give it to him to wear. As I continue eastward, we do come across a Blackhand encampment. Now, Blackhand are going to be the primary faction of the jungle, but they do spread into the desert a little bit. And these guys are still kind of like Iron tier, similar to the Dogs of the Desert, but they are a little bit stronger. So hopefully I can get something that's actually better than what I'm wearing or utilizing right now. If anything, I could give it to John because he's in desperate need of better equipment than I am. We do find a couple more jailers and cages, but I'm not able to take on another thrall while I have John following me. I am considering to get the enhanced version or upgraded version of Better Thralls mod because that's the mod that allows you to take more than one with you at a time. However, I do want to complete this challenge without any mods, that way you can't really be considered cheating, though what I'm thinking is, if I'm out and I do find some other thralls, I'll probably utilize that mod just to have them follow me. I'll put them somewhere safe or take them back home, and then I'll continue just regular combat and exploration with one thrall. That way I don't have to do what I did before, which I don't know if I had it in my last edit or not, where I found a second thrall and I already had one following me, and I basically had to pick it up, drop it, pick it up, drop it, all the way back home. That was kind of annoying. Now that I'm situated in the jungle, I set up a base of operations with a tent and a couple of beds. Also, anything placeable I will put here just for now so I can empty out my inventory, and we head on to what I like to call the plateau. I actually don't remember what this area is called, but it's essentially a large crevice that kind of goes up into this mountain into a large flat plateau. Now, there's not really anything here that I need, but I just kind of want to explore and kind of do this area. It will also help out with the experience gain, and I also will require a lot of gold, as you'll see later on why I need it. I do find another bearer and we take it on, hoping to get the bearer pack, but it doesn't drop, unfortunately. Now, these Dogs of the Desert, there's not really any boss battles. Occasionally you can find a named NPC, but they're really not that strong and there's not as many to overwhelm you, so I pretty much take it on without any issue. John doesn't go down and I don't die at all. As I get up closer to the top, we do find some treasure. We do find a golden Derico cat, which I don't take because I'm not going to be able to utilize that system, but also I don't have the time or patience to carry it all the way back to Set City. And again, there's nothing really worthwhile here that I do find. I do find a couple of repair kits, but that's kind of par for the course. So as I finish up, I loot a couple of chests. There's actually, it wasn't a Derico statue, it was just a Lemurian statue. The Derico statue's later on. But I do pick it up and carry it just for like the fun of it, but I drop it after like 10 seconds and I just, continue on. I do walk around the plateau a little bit and find some jaguars, which this is pretty much the primary area that you would find jaguar cubs if you are looking to raise them up as pets. I would have loved to have one and give it the picked skin because I do have every payable DLC. I don't have a lot of the original Bazaar or Battle Pass items. I do have some, but when that was going on, that was kind of during the time that I kind of stopped playing, so I missed out on a lot of it. Now, something that you learn when you have over 2,500 hours into Conan Exiles is where all of the secret areas are. As you see here, it looks like it's just a dead end, but in fact, if you go under the water, it'll lead out into another area. This is one of the secret entrances into the city that's in the middle of the jungle. Now, of course, there are other ways to get in, but this was the one that I had found that was closest to me, so I took it. Now, within the city is going to be one of the dungeons that we need to get to, which houses the Witch Queen. It's a one boss dungeon that has 2 or I guess 3 phases really. Of course, we have to fight through this army of gorilla and monkey men in order to get to her. These guys are kind of ridiculous, but they're a great leather farm as they drop both light and heavy leather. So that's something to keep in mind if you are running low on leather on any other servers. Now, I do climb through here because I completely forgot where the entrance was, and I also didn't want to fight through a bunch more monkeys. Well, eventually I get to the bridge that leads to the entrance, and I run in trying to avoid the monkey man trying to kill me behind. Once inside, I make sure John is situated, we heal up, and we make sure everything is good to go. Then we trigger the fight. So this fight is, again, I'm gonna say 3 phases, though it could be considered 2. The first phase is this giant statue guy. He's pretty easy to take on, you just have to watch out for his swing of the weapon, but it is wide enough that you can roll and dodge it fairly easy. He does pack a punch, so you don't want to get hit. Now, once he's down, it will have a small interlude where the statues will shoot lasers. You don't want to stand in them when they go off, but they give you plenty of time to move. Now, this is what I'm going to be considering phase 2. You have to fight another one of these statues all while the lasers are going off. When I do see that my follower is standing in one, I quickly order him to move, so he doesn't, at least from what I saw, doesn't get hit by any of them. You do get one more interlude, which is time for you to heal if you need to. Now, I do believe that this is a timed event, so if you don't kill the giant statues on time, you will have to face her with the statues at the same time. Regardless, they do go down, so now I have to face her. The lasers will still go off while you are fighting her, so you do have to watch out, though sometimes they will stop to give you a bit of a break. She's not that difficult to take on as she only has an axe, and that's pretty much it. But just like any other enemy in the game, she can stun lock you if you stay there and don't dodge out of the way while she's doing her combo. So if she does get a hit on you, quickly dodge back and you can avoid that. Once I take her down, I loot the key to Rasma's quarters and I loot the golden mask. The golden mask is one of the primary items we need in order to beat the game. Now, that's not the last thing that I'm going to be getting. I'm also going to be acquiring one of the 3 Scourge Stones because it is at the very far northeastern end of the map and I don't want to walk all the way back. So we're going to grab it while we're in the jungle so I don't have to make the trip again. Now, as I approach Flotsam, I do take on this animal tamer. There are a couple of them around in the cliffside, and sometimes they have a chance to drop the underwater mask, which I'm pretty much lucky because the very first one that I killed drops the mask. Now, it's called the water breathing mask, but it doesn't really give you water breathing. Instead, it just makes it so you can hold your breath twice as long. It's great for underwater exploration, but there's really not much to explore underwater in this game. However, there is a dungeon that does take place underwater, so it's definitely beneficial for that area. Now, up here on this platform, these NPCs are friendly, and some of them will will sell you items. They'll sell you pets, or they'll sell you slaves. The slave trader is the one that I'm interested in because she has a chance to either give you it's a small, like 1% chance to give you a tier 4 fighter, a 20% chance to get a tier 3 fighter, and then like a 70 to 75% chance to get a tier 2 fighter. Now, I do get a tier 2 fighter later on, but I don't have enough gold just yet, though I have just enough that I could probably make it up by killing the rest of the enemies in Flotsam. Now, heading up all the different stages, we do take them on one at a time, at least, you know, 2 at a time. We don't want to pull as many as the whole thing, because then we'll completely be outnumbered. I do find a caged barkeeper, but I've already got 2 of them, so I'm not rescuing her. She can cry all she wants, but not, she's staying there. Now, this guy, this one-eyed, whatever his name is, I completely forgot his name, Dunkus the Mad Eye, he is an absolute pain in the ass. I think he is one of the hardest bosses, at least in the jungle, to face. Even the boss battles that I actually do need to defeat are not as hard as him. He's optional. I actually don't even need to fight him, and really he doesn't drop anything that's good. I'm just, you know, doing it for the completionist in me. Now, John does go down. I have to pick him back up, and it gets to the point that I have to kite Dunkus, so I run around letting him chase me while my stamina recovers. When I'm able to get him into a pinch, then I do some damage. John does go down a second time, and I have to pick him back up. Eventually, we get this guy into a corner, and we take him on, stun locking him and killing him. I do loot what I can. The broken jar dagger item that he drops is kind of cool. It's a novelty item. I'm not going to use it, and I'm not going to give it to John because it's not really that good, but I'll probably give it to one of my barkeepers back home just for the flavor of it. Now, I do put on the underwater mask because I do remember back in the day swimming around this area and finding chests with plenty of gold and silver. At least that's what I remember when I used to need it playing on roleplay servers, but for whatever reason, I couldn't find a single chest. Either I'm completely tripping, or they remove the chests, or maybe I'm just blind and I didn't see any and they're still there. I have no idea. I just couldn't find any, and I remember several being there last time I played in this area. But I was doing all of this primarily not just for the gold, but to give John a break because he was already at 2 out of 3 of his debuff, and he needed to sit for a few minutes while it wore off. I went around the outskirts and I killed some enemies, and then I eventually made it to the sandbar over here. Now, this sandbar has a lot of memories. Not only did a lot of roleplay servers utilize it, but on a roleplay server that I hosted, I built an entire pirate village here. I even used Pippi to make quests, and I had a thieves guild, and so much. I had different types of quests, guilds, gold, all of this stuff. It was just so amazing. If I have any screenshots, I'll probably put it up right here so you can see it, but it's just kind of sad seeing this barren sandbar now. Eventually, I make my way back to John as his debuff goes away, and one of the pirates that I killed drops a medium helm, so I put it on because it is a lot better than the hood that I was wearing. It is kind of sad because I liked that hood. It was kind of iconic at this point, but it is time to retire it. I do need that armor bonus. On the plus side, I do now have enough gold to buy a fighter, so I buy one, and this is where I get my tier 2, so unlucky on my first try, but hey, it's fine. I'll probably get plenty more gold when I take on the shipyard. So I go ahead and I give the Stygian fighter to John because I can't place it down right now and he's too heavy, and we make our way up top. Now, there are one of 2 bosses that could spawn here. Sometimes both can spawn. Each one of them will drop the Scourge Stone piece. Now, I only need one, but you'll find out soon that I end up getting both of them because I get really lucky. Before I even get on the ruined ship, one of the bosses is right there. I didn't realize it until after I killed him. I thought it was a named thrall because I saw the yellow bar. Once I take him down, I say, oh wait, there's a scattered Scourge Stone piece. So yeah, that was pretty lucky, but I wasn't gonna just stop there. Well, I could just turn around and leave and go home. I do want to finish this area, so I continue up defeating every enemy that we come across because there will be a guaranteed boss at the very top. He's also going to drop the same Scourge Stone piece, which it's not going to matter at this point, but again, I'm doing it just purely for the completionist. Now, I'm not going up there because I don't want to risk pulling any other enemy, so I'm kind of letting John handle it, and as John finishes it, oh no, John, there he goes! Yeah, he kind of falls off into the water. I just watched them from a distance, and I'm just sitting there laughing, but it's okay, guys. John is fine. He walked it off. So as he reunites back with me, we continue on and fight a Black Corsair Elite. There's several of them in this area, and in fact, you can actually learn how to make their armor. These guys drop the black silk required to make it, but of course, this is a no craft challenge, so I'm not going to be looting any of the black silk because it's going to be useless to me. I do learn how to make it, but it's just, again, for the completionist. I'm not going to be making it. I do see the cats that walk around this area in the city, and I would love to have a pet cat, but again, it would require building a stable. I might make a stable just for the exception of having a cat because it doesn't affect the gameplay itself, but nah, I won't do that. So, yep, we get to the top, we defeat the boss battle, and he doesn't really drop anything we need. I check around for any chests, and that's pretty much it. We've completed this area. I do have enough gold that I can buy another fighter, so we jump off, which is the short way down. Instead of walking all the way back down, we make it all the way back to the slave master, and we purchase another fighter. Unfortunately, it is another tier 2 Stygian fighter. So that was rotten luck. I could bring all of my gold and test my luck to see if I could get that tier 3 or tier 4 fighter, but I think I'm gonna wait on that for now. Until then, I think this is gonna be the end of this episode. In the next episode, we are gonna be heading into the deep north, because that's where all of the better gear is. All of the Nordheimer and Vanir gear that drops there is gonna be so much better than what I'm wearing, so it's gonna be time to upgrade once again, see to get any more followers, and continue on this journey of Conan Exiles in my No Craft Challenge. Till then, I'll see you next time.